Welcome to Elevated Sports. I'm Kyle Johnson.
I'm Billy Mock.
Today, we're talking about a serious topic. Antonio Clown.
Dun dun dun.
Today, we will be talking about our favorite clown who goes by the name of Antonio Brown.
I personally like Ronald McDonald better.
There you have it. Yeah, he is a clown.
Yeah.
But this is a different clown. This is a clown that we can't relate to at all.
Yeah. And won't make us cheeseburgers.
This is true.
Yeah.
All right. So when we're talking about Antonio Clown, I'm going to go over a timeline of the entire Antonio Clown
it's
saga.
quite a timeline.
It's a long timeline. It hasn't even been a year yet. I guess it's kind of been a year since he started acting like a clown.
Yeah.
But the clown didn't start taking off until
the Raiders, basically.
Until probably about July. But we're going to get started. It starts off I think it was March.
Yeah.
Antonio Clown. I'm just going to call him AB because there's less to say. AB, he starts calling out his teammates, calls out Big Ben, and then it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to get traded. And the Steelers granted him the trade.
Which is fair enough.
They originally deal him to Buffalo. He throws a big hissy fit about it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm not going to Buffalo. And the Steelers are like, oh, all right, well, never mind. And then Buffalo's like, wait, hold on a second. Buffalo gets cheated out of Antonio Brown, AB, which seemed like a punishment at the time, but you'll come to find out that it was actually a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
He ends up getting traded to Oakland. As you can probably guess, not an ideal landing spot.
I think AB catches that statement.
Yeah, AB catches that statement. We fast forward. That was in March. We're now in July. Off-season's getting ready, or the preseason's getting ready to start. Preseason workouts and all that. And Antonio Brown can't go to practice. No call, no show. What's going on with Antonio Brown? Well, come to find out, he froze his feet in a cryotherapy machine because he didn't wear the proper gear. So he can't practice. He's got frostbite on his feet. And it's like, come on, dude, seriously? How long have you been doing this and you couldn't figure that out? Then he's finally able to return to practice, and he's like, no, I'm not going to practice until I can wear my helmet that I've been wearing in the past. NFL gave new safety regulations. Helmets had to be certain helmets to meet head protection standards. Antonio Brown said, nah, I'm not practicing until I can wear my old helmet. NFL says no. So he files a grievance against him. He loses. He said, that's not fair. He files a second grievance against him. And he loses again. Then he finally shows up to practice. But then he gets fined for missing a lot of practice after freezing his feet and then complaining about his helmet. So he receives a punishment letter stating the fine, and he gets the letter. He takes a picture of it and posts it on his Instagram. Then, in response, the general manager, I think it was Mayock, says, no, now you're getting suspended, you fool. That was September 5th. September 6th, he has a phone call with John Gruden, Coach Gruden, and he decides, you know what? I'm going to post this video on YouTube. He posts a personal phone conversation with John Gruden on YouTube. That's not okay. You know, you may think, what's the problem with that? There's laws about recording people and posting their, without their acknowledgement. John Gruden didn't know that he was recording. John Gruden didn't know he was going to get posted on YouTube. Did John Gruden care? I don't think he did. But he probably thought it was funny, knowing Gruden.
Gruden's a goof.
Yeah, he's weird. But, so he does that, and it's like, come on, Antonio Brown. Next day, it is now September 7th. It is the day before the regular season opener. And Antonio Brown says, release me. So, the Raiders release him. And as soon as he's released, he posts another video. I don't remember if it was on Instagram or YouTube.
It was on Instagram. And out of the whole saga, this is like one of my least favorite moments. after, because like he posts this video and he's like celebrating the fact that he's been released.
It was cringy.
It was cringy, but I was like, you basically like dug yourself into this hole where they were probably going to release you anyway, and then you tell it's almost like saying, you know, you're fired, but you're saying you can't fire me because I quit. It's like something ridiculous like that.
Right. It basically proved the fact that he was trying to get released the entire time.
Yeah.
And then finally granted it, and he posts this video. He like runs outside. He's like, "I'm free."
Yeah, and basically, and you know, in the picture he's trying to paint to his followers was that they were the ones causing all the problems, not himself.
Right.
That's the part I didn't like. About
Exactly. There's been multiple problems, and we'll talk about his problem at the end of the video. And then it was later that day he reached his agreement with the New England Patriots. Which seemed like a good thing. You know, we're thinking, at first you're thinking this man's crazy. Then you're thinking, okay, he planned it. So maybe he's not as crazy. Maybe he's just a maniacal genius.
Yeah.
Then, about halfway through the next week with the Patriots, rape allegations come out against him, against his former trainer. Not a good look for Antonio Brown, who's now living at Tom Brady's house.
He was living at Tom Brady's house?
He was living at Tom Brady's house, yeah. So I imagine Giselle she was probably like, okay. What? Tom, don't leave me? So that's kind of playing out. And then the Patriots played the Dolphins week 2. Antonio Brown has a couple catches.
Had a touchdown, right?
50-something yards, had a touchdown. And then later that week, more allegations come out against him. Domestic cases, assault cases, sexual assault cases. And then the Patriots like, okay, that's enough. You're gone. He then ends up posting multiple times on all of social media, begging the Patriots to take him back. He posted like the Wolverine meme where Wolverine's like stroking the picture, looking for the man to come back, and just, hey, I'm so sorry, Mr. Kraft, please take me back. Tom, don't you miss me? Guys, please take me back. I'm so sorry I acted like an idiot.
And I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, he was released because of those allegations, right? I feel like there had to be something more within the whole Patriots situation, because I remember Belichick got interviewed about it. He's like, you know, what's the whole deal with Antonio Brown? Belichick didn't want anything to do with it. He didn't want to talk about anything. He was disgusted at the fact that they wanted to talk about Antonio Brown.
And I think a lot of that is just being Bill Belichick, who he is. He's not one to talk about anything outside of football other than what's happening currently. You know, if they just played the Dolphins, they're getting ready to play the Bengals. He's not going to talk about the Dolphins. He's going to talk about the Bengals. So I think it was something similar to that. There may have been something going on inside.
I feel like there was. I feel like there was something more between the organization and Antonio Brown that we just don't know yet.
And what I think is interesting about this whole situation is, at this point, all the allegations and everything just seemed to kind of drop off the map.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, were these allegations true? Or were these people angry at Antonio Brown and they used their closeness to him to accuse him and try to ruin his career?
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. He was saying, you know, they're just trying to ruin my career. And it may have worked. Or maybe they were true and he should have had his career ruined. Anyway, fast forward. The Saints decide, hey, we could use another receiver. So they bring in Antonio Brown for a workout. Antonio Brown shows up to the workout with a camera crew and entourage, filming him in his workout. He leaves, and then he calls out the Saints and says, they used my workout as a publicity stunt. What? You're the one that brought the camera crew. You brought the entourage with you. But they used it as a publicity stunt. Dude, you don't make any sense.
The Saints were genuinely looking for a receiver.
Yeah, they were actually looking for a receiver, and then he goes and does this stupid stuff. Which, at this point, you shouldn't be surprised he's doing this stupid stuff.
I'm surprised the Saints even took a chance on him at this point.
Right, exactly. And then, it's very interesting, because is totally unrelated to his NFL career, but he started to make a rap career. He started, I don't know if he released an album or a song, but he's releasing songs, music videos. It's weird. I mean, he's trying to be like Le'Veon Bell. That was interesting. That was really interesting of him to do that. But I mean, I guess when you don't have a job, you got to make money somehow. Then fast forward, I think it was either a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. He posts a live Instagram video of him cussing out cops and his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever she was and his kids as they're getting taken away from the scene. He's just literally standing out in his driveway for like 2.5, 3 minutes, just cussing out the cops, calling them pigs and all this other terrible stuff. And apparently at one point, I didn't see it in the video when I watched it, but he allegedly waved a bag of...
Go ahead, just say it.
ding-dong shaped gummies at the cops and his girlfriend or whatever she was at this point.
Was it like intimidation or something?
I think it was just to like mock them or something. I mean, who does that? Who even has them? Why did Antonio Brown, if you're watching this, why did you have ding-dong shaped gummies? Why were you eating them?
Well, first thing I think of when I hear that is probably some kind of drugs or something. Because I mean, there's been reports on him being like, with the whole, allegations with the burglary and all that. He was high in the situation, something like that. Are you assuming those followers don't know about that?
Yes, we're assuming everything.
Okay, sorry. Just block out everything I just said. Men in Black.
Yeah. Beep. Anyway. So this happens, and then I think it was probably a day later, the Police Athletic League down in Hollywood, Florida says, Antonio Brown, you gave us money for our organization. You can have it back. You're a terrible role model. You're a terrible person. You have terrible character, and we don't want you supporting us or representing us at all. So take your money back. Then he gets accused of assault and burglary on a truck driver.
Yes. That was what I was referring to.
Apparently the truck driver helped him move from California to Florida. But Antonio Brown, I think he didn't have the money. He wasn't going to pay the dude.
No.
And the truck driver was like, if you're not paying me, you're not getting your stuff off this truck. And then after a conversation or whatever, the truck driver's like, all right, I'm leaving. So he starts leaving, and Antonio Brown throws like a rock or something at the truck. And then the truck driver leaves and he comes back to collect payment. He's like, all right, I'm going to give you another chance. Give me money for the stuff. Give me money to repair my truck. Antonio Brown refused. That's when they put out the warrant for his arrest.
Yeah.
Him and his trainer at the time. So they issued the arrest warrant for Antonio Brown because he was acting erratically. And then I didn't see this on any articles or anything about it, but I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about how the police in Hollywood, Florida were warned. They said, we don't know where Antonio Brown is at right now, but please be careful if you find him. He has a concealed weapons permit, and he is known to act erratically when he just overreacts to everything.
Yeah.
So please be careful because we don't know how he's going to overreact if you try to take him into custody. I think it was later that night he turned himself in. The next day he shows up in court and he's wearing an anti-suicide smock. What does that mean? I don't know. Obviously it's to keep him from committing suicide. How? I don't know. You're going to have to Google that yourselves. It's a beautiful tool. Google is.
Yeah.
That happened. Then he was released on $110,000 bond. Judge ordered him to wear a GPS monitor everywhere. He has to give up his firearms, his ammunition. He has to give up his passport so he can't leave the country. And he has to go get a mental health evaluation. And that's
which is reasonable.
Yeah,
Very
it is.
reasonable.
He obviously he needs it. And that's where we're at with this whole situation. Why is Antonio Brown acting this way? I think I think we are seeing a prime effect of CTE at his very worst. Trying to remember how many years ago. I was still in college when this happened.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing it. Vontae's perfect. I hate you. I hope you understand that. And this is a large part why. You killed Antonio Brown. You literally murdered him. You gave him probably the worst concussion of his career, probably the worst concussion I've ever seen. Because I think he received legitimate brain damage during that hit. And, you know, watching it, you're like, oh, man, that's bad. He missed a while with that concussion. Not a good thing. I think he actually has brain damage. I do. Legit. I think he has CTE.
There's no explanation for the way we've never seen anything like it.
No.
For something to just go as downhill as this is going right now. Obviously, you have the Aaron Hernandez situation, but
he kept
everything down low.
Right.
Yeah, and before his career, before he probably got, if he has CTE, before he got that, he was involved in that stuff.
Right.
This is just blatant, I don't even know what to call it.
I don't know.
And what makes it worse is that this is all on social media because we live in the social media age.
Right. I think something else, so Antonio Brown, he had a white judge.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this topic, but they did like this meme where Antonio Brown said at the beginning of the year, it's going to be no white woman 2020.
Yeah.
And then he gets a white judge, and then somebody made a comment about it being a funny 30 for 30. And then and this is all on Twitter, some Pittsburgh fan group for any Pittsburgh team, they retweeted it and they put the skull emoji and a laughing emoji. And then all I see is Le'Veon Bell liked. And that's kind of how far this whole thing has come. You look back maybe 3 years ago, and you have Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell as a big three, a legitimate big three. They're a big threat in this league.
Yeah.
And now Le'Veon Bell's gone. Antonio Brown's torn ties with everyone. Juju Smith-Schuster used to look up to Antonio Brown. He would DM him. He's like, man, I want to be like you. You're a great guy. You're a great player. And then Antonio Brown just totally shunned him out. He's like, dude, you'll never be half the player I am.
Yeah.
And honestly, all jokes aside, I'm legitimately concerned this is a terrible situation for Antonio Brown. You can laugh and say, man, this dude's an idiot. This dude's a joke. What's going on with him? I call him Antonio Clown. But there's something seriously wrong with Antonio Brown. He seriously needs help. This isn't funny. It's not funny anymore. This man, if you're at the point where you're wearing an anti-suicide smock to court, it's not funny. Suicide's not a joke. This man has legitimate problems. He needs legitimate help. Antonio Brown, please get help. As much as stupid stuff as you've done, we still want you in this world.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better. You as sports fans, we want the best for athletes. Whether they're on a team we don't like or we don't necessarily agree with the player. At the end of the day, this type of stuff goes beyond sports. For instance, a couple weeks ago, I was on here just screaming at Kevin Durant, right? But at the end of the day, I want the best for Kevin Durant.
Right.
I don't want something like this to go upon him.
Right.
So we should want the best for these players. Just at the beginning of this whole saga, it was funny with the helmet and the front and the feet.
Yeah, it was just okay, you're stupid.
Yeah, but obviously it has shown that there is something more there, and it's just not a good look. It's not a good look. It's a tough case.
Right.
It's very tough.
At the end of the day, he's not an athlete. He's a human being.
Yes.
No matter how many stupid, dangerous, illegal things he's done, he's a human just like we are. We all have our pitfalls. We all have our downfalls. And we shouldn't be wishing the worst on anyone.
Yeah.
So Antonio Brown, please get help. Please get better. Whether you join the NFL ever again or not, I don't really care. Just get in a better state of mind.
Yes. Amen.
Amen. That was a deep conversation.
That was. This is we haven't gotten this far in elevated sports.
No. This is a new state of elevation.
It is. Hey, let us know what you think about Antonio Brown /Clown. I don't know. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think, needs to happen? Like this video, comment, subscribe, check out the pod, check us out on the socials. See you next time.